All right, we are here for a episode of Dave's Garage. I'm Dave. This is the garage. Got the ZX14R, got the Monster Plus, and we got the one that's sort of been the star of the show lately. 2022 Speed Twin from Triumph. It's a 1200cc, British Customs X-Pipe, free-flowing mufflers, Öhlins shocks, Folan's damper, K-Tech Racing forks, all set up by GMD CompuTrack for track days. Just got the final dyno tune in. We're just shy of 104 horsepower at the wheel, and a really nice 85 foot-pounds of torque. So this thing's done as far as mods go, other than a quick shifter. So what are we doing today is we're going to upgrade the air filter to the K&N. Don't expect it to change performance appreciably. You know, maybe half a horsepower or something on the dyno. Nothing really to write home about. What it will do is make it easier to change and wash. So I usually use K&Ns for that. So here's what we're going to do. Get my stand over here. This is a fairly simple install. So what you're going to want to do is pop off disc cover. All right, just give you a little more access. This is the air intake on the left-hand side. Filter is up here, my finger's on it. It slides in from the front. So you're gonna have to remove this breather hose. So this goes from the crankcase. It's the crankcase vent, goes to the intake manifold. So any pressure that builds up in the crankcase, rather than have that pressure build up and blow past, you know, gaskets and stuff and have oil leaks, it can vent through the top of the crankcase into the air intake. It gets sucked into the motor and burned and spit out the tailpipe. So what we want to do is take off this hose. We're going to pinch those connectors, that thing up there, with a long pair of needle nose or a pair of pliers. And then the same thing here. There's a clip and we're going to pop that off. And then it is a matter of taking a T20 bit, torx, and hopefully that's not too long. Gives me just enough room to unscrew 1, 2, and then there's 2 on the other side. Wish I had a shorter screwdriver. That might be almost too long, but we'll figure out. We'll make it work. So these they're just pressed in with pins and rubber bushings. So we'll put those aside, put it up here so I don't step on it. I guess while I'm over here, I can just go ahead and remove these 2 screws. Pretty simple. Then that plastic tray is going to come out. And at that point, we'll just slide out the old filter, unwrap the new one, and slide it in. Giggity. So pretty straightforward install. Nothing crazy here. This will be one of those quick in and out kind of tutorials. So get that loose enough. Get that screw out. And then we're going to go around to the other side. I'll prop my thing up here so I can use my free hand. Let's see. So we just reach up. You can almost pinch that. Well, you can pinch it with your fingers. Slide it down. And then take this and really just kind of pull it off. Very simple. You can do the same here. So that's basically out of the way. Just pull that hose down out of the way so you can grab these clips. And we can pinch those and loosen them. Sometimes they rotate on it. You know what? I'm just going to pull this dumb thing off because it's not really on there very tight. This is not something that has to support its weight. It's not anything that's, you know, stressed or anything. So you can kind of just pop it off with that stupid clip intact. It doesn't really hold it on all that much. It keeps it from vibrating off, which is really all you have to worry about. It's not like it's going to go anywhere. There's nothing pulling on it. So we'll go ahead. Remove that screw. And now the last one. Take those off. This pops off. Now when you take it off, the Triumph and all that stuff, that goes on the inside. I think, or did I put it on wrong last time? No, I feel like that's the inside. Yeah, that's the inside. Let me just double check something. Yeah, it can only go on one way. So this side with the ridges, the ribs for her pleasure, that goes on the outside. All the lettering faces inside. So pop that off, set it aside, and then you just reach up in here, and I help it from the back just by pushing that. So that's going to slide out. It basically comes out in like a tray. So that's your stock air filter, which isn't even that dirty. This one's still pretty clean, so I'm going to save that just in case I needed it for some reason. Again, keep this orientation so that when you pull it out, you know which way it goes back in. And now we're going to unwrap. I feel like this is facing the wrong direction. We'll go ahead and pop that open. I inspect mine to make sure that there's nothing in there, little bits of something from maybe manufacturing that could get sucked into the motor, piece of metal or screening that got cut in the molding process. Everything looks good. It's not over oiled, which is good. A lot of times these are dripping wet. So I'm going to go ahead, take that, and slide it in. Now, in the kit, it comes with some grease to seal it. The stock one doesn't have anything. It's got this really soft rubber lip. The stock one has the same kind of foam rubber lip, and there's no grease on that, so I'm not going to use it. I've never have, and it's never been a problem on any of the other bikes I've had. So that just goes in, slides and locks into place. You can guide it again, your hand here. That's it. This, again, all the lettering inside so the ribs face out. The tabs that are sticking up like ears go up on top. And now you put your screws back in, connect your hoses. And don't forget, you got these on both sides. So go ahead and get that one in. And don't, like anything, when you've got multiple screws, don't tighten one down all the way and torque it down until you know you've got the other side in and lined up. So we'll just kind of snug them just a little bit, make sure there's just a little bit of wiggle room in case it's not quite centered. And then we'll come back over here, tighten those up. I'm not putting the hose on yet because of that reason, just because I have to get back at those screws. So let's go to the other side. And now we're over here. Top screw, kind of thread it in as much as you can by hand. You can't really grip it that well. It's not like a hex head or something that's got flat sides. It's circular, so you're only going to get it in there part way. So go ahead and now you can snug it down. I don't know what the torque setting is. It's plastic you're screwing into, so when it stops, I stop. That's all it has to do. It just has to provide a seal. So let's go ahead and tighten that one up. Okay, it stopped. We're good. Go back to this side. Tighten these up. And then we'll put our hose back on. And then put our plastic covers on. And we are done. That's it. Changing out your air filter. All right, that just seated. It's a weird angle. Let me try it with this hand. All right, tighten. Yep, that's all it needs. Now we'll do the top one. This is where I need Riley, my little helper monkey, to hold the damn camera. Because I'm a righty, so it's easier for me to use my right hand, but... Okay, that's tight. No gap, everything's in there properly. And then this is going to go... how did that go? Like that. So just go ahead and pop that up, and then I'll squeeze the clip and move it up. And this one, I never even move the clip. You just Wiggle it on. If it doesn't go in right away, if it's hard to go in, just spit on it. You know the drill. Okay. Let's just go ahead and pop those up there. There we go. That's up top, seated properly. That's seated properly. Those are tight. Now, let's go this way. Yeah, I think this way. This I might need two hands. Kind of pop that one in. That one. That one. Let me go to the other side. And kind of line that one up. That's it. We're done. Everything's tight. Make sure. Didn't forget anything. Gonna take this and we will just set this aside for now. What I'll do is put that in a Ziploc bag later just to keep it clean. But now with that, we can go ahead and wash that in the future. So that is a 5-minute install. Now when you clean it, you're gonna reverse that, take it out. There's, see up on the shelf up there? K&N Power Clean. You take it in dry, just lay it in the sink and spray it down with this. Let it sit for 5 minutes. That eats away and dissolves the filter oil. And then rinse it with hot water. And you rinse the water through it the opposite direction of the way it flows. So the pleats were facing down. That means the air is going up and getting into the pleats. So you want to wash it from the top so it doesn't wash the dirt more into it, it pushes the dirt away. So you're going to wash it from the clean side with the water flowing to the dirty side. Once it's dry, what I'll do is I'll shake it dry, put on some paper towels, put it out in the sun for an hour, if it's a sunny day, put it under a fan, or you could just put the oven, just turn the oven on for like a few minutes to get it up to like 150 degrees or something. So it's just warm and you can throw it in there. Don't melt it, obviously. And then when you come out, you spray it with this. Don't overspray it. Everyone does that. And then it gets all kinds of oil in the intake tract. On cars, it's especially bad because you might have your MAF sensor right there and you cover that with oil and that's a problem. So you just want to spray it lightly and then let it soak and wick through. You want it to be a light pink. You do not want it to be a dark red. Hold on, let me tell my goddamn dog to shut the fuck up. Max, shut up! God damn, that dog is annoying. I love the dog to death, but he just whines nonstop all day, every day. So, where was I? Yeah, so anyway, you do that. So that process between washing it and then drying it and oiling it, the drying part takes the longest. So that's going to take you an hour and a half. So you just do it. Some people will have 2 of these filters. So one is already cleaned and oiled and sitting in a Ziploc bag. And then they just pull this out, put the new one in, and they're done with it. And then they can wash the other one and throw it back in the Ziploc bag. But that's how you do an an oiled air filter change. The K&N, the Sprint, the BMC, they're going to be slightly different filters, but they all work the same. With this one, I'm not expecting any performance gains. I know they always say, oh, look, did this much gain? I don't know, maybe on some bikes or some cars that have really restrictive air filters, but you're still breathing through that hole. You still have a tiny little air box. I'm not expecting any gains to be had from an air filter. That paper filter flows pretty damn well. So I got this just for convenience. You know, you spend 55 bucks or whatever on that one, and you'll use it, it'll outlast the bike, as opposed to spending $30 for the OEM one that you might swap 3 or 4 times. It's cheaper to buy the K&N. So anyway, that is your change for your air filter. You got any questions, you know what to do, throw it in the comments. Hope you enjoyed your episode of Dave's Garage, changing your own air filter.